Club, and she talked about why she was so angry with Omarosa. And I just want to really look at this and kind of dissect her statements a little bit. But just to kind of, for those who don't know, Omarosa Manigault Newman was basically she's been a long time business partner / friend, mentor, mentee of Donald Trump for, I guess, about 10 years, ever since she was on the show, The Apprentice, the reality show. And she campaigned for Donald Trump, and then she assumed the position in his administration somewhere close to the White House. And so on December 13th, she was reportedly fired and dragged off the premises, but she said that that is not what happened. She resigned, okay? And so, but when it all happened, like, everybody was like so going in on her, including some Black women. And so I just want to kind of talk a little bit about that whole situation, since we've had a week to process and laugh and whatever we were doing in the wake of that, and kind of understand, like, why was there so much venom. So first I want to look at some of these memes. I mean, there were memes for days and days and days and days. They were like, bye Omarosa. I mean, wow. So, and let me show you my favorite meme right here. This is my favorite one. This is so funny. They said this is Omarosa resisting White House security, even though she says she actually resigned. So that may not be her. So anyway, now I want to listen to some comments that were made by Angela Rye, who, I don't know what to really call her. I probably should have looked up her title, but I think she's like a Democratic pundit. And I, for the record, I'm not on a Democrat or a Republican. I am on the side of the politician that has an agenda for Black people. And I haven't met that politician yet. So I'm still looking. But let's hear what Angela Rye had to say about why she was so angry with Omarosa. And I think that would give us some indicators about what everybody else was kind of feeling, because there was just like so much venom for Miss Lady.
I say old people slang. But no, to me, it's personally frustrating because, y'all, I'm serious. There are Black folks who have sold us out from the beginning of time who operate in that mode. You cannot put your culture, your people, your community under your opportunity. You will never make a good decision. And that is just, it's frustrating. It's hurtful to me. So people have been like, why are you so amped about it? Why are you so mad? I'm like, because you're trying to tell me one thing and you're doing something else. I see your actions. I hear the words that you're speaking, and they don't align with someone who represents what I believe are our best interests. So yeah, I'm going to drag you every time. So that's when you say.
So there you have it. She said that she was personally upset because, number one, we keep getting sold out by people who are supposed to be our brothers and sisters, constantly undermining us when we are trying to get free of this burden of systematic oppression, this very persistent, heinous, painful, torturous burden of racism, white supremacy. So, you know, I think that, I mean, I was feeling that because, you know, I was like really wanting to go in on Omarosa at the time that happened. I was like so happy. I was like, you know, sometimes when you like feel this kind of happiness about something negative happening to somebody, you're like, man, should I be feeling like this? And I totally was. Let me see where it's
then I have a vacation next week. I don't know. I'm thinking like twists, but braids and something hard on the edges.
So anyway, so yeah, I was like, I'm trying to check myself, like, why am I feeling like this? Even though I know that we have so many people in the community that are betraying us, and that we need to not have mercy on them, because hopefully they will eventually learn that that is not the way to go. And I think that Angela Rye expressed that really well from the standpoint of, you know, if I see you doing some things that are not in the best interest of the Black community, then, you know, I have to use whatever I can legally use to attack you and call you out for that behavior. You know, if we keep letting that slide, then how are we ever going to have liberation? That's the question. But this whole thing with Omarosa kind of raises a lot of issues for me. For one thing, we have to, if we're going to put Omarosa, we're going to call her to task for everything that she's doing. There are some people who are on a Democratic ticket who are not doing things that are in our best interest, because I felt like people who were behind Hillary Clinton were doing things that they weren't promoting someone and working towards building with someone who had any good intention for the Black community. So, you know, I think we have to look at all of these things in detail. I really wonder, because I'm just not a person that has much faith in the democratic process, the political process. I just wonder, how can you really be a politician, a Democrat or a Republican, and be in the best interest of Black people? Because both parties have created policies with a purpose with a malicious purpose of endangering the lives of Black people. I mean, we've seen things like COINTELPRO go on. We've seen situations where the CIA has admitted to putting drugs in the Black community. We've seen institutions experiment on Black people. We've seen police officers be shielded and protected after they kill Black people, execute them on camera. And we see that even the FBI reported that they found that white supremacists were infiltrating police departments. For what purpose? To get guns so they can legally have a reason to kill Black people. We've seen these individuals who pretend like they're police officers plant false evidence on Black people. So with all of that going on, I mean, it seems like the institutions in the government are dedicated to upholding racism and white supremacy. So how can you be a true Democrat and truly a part of the Black community? I really want to know that, because I just don't see how it works. The last true, like real, like political type leader that I felt I could really say it was down with the Black community is like a Marcus Garvey type, because he wasn't a part of the United States government, but he was building a organization or a system of politics in a way for Black people. And he declared himself basically the president of Black people. I can't remember the title he used, but so I don't know what we do about being political in this current system. I would like to know, what do you really do? What does someone think we can do? Because people act like if we go out and vote, that's gonna be such a big deal. But you're voting for Democrats who have done, like I said, all kinds of negative things to Black people, and Republicans, or neither one of them come to the Black community and say, here's what I'm going to do for you if you elect me. This is what I want to see done for Black people specifically. You know, so I don't know. Then another thing that was kind of interesting to me, it seemed like the white stream media kind of took a little pleasure in seeing Angela Rye and Robin, I think her name is Robin Roberts, go in on Omarosa, another Black woman, so publicly. And I mean, like, Angela Rye was on one of the news stations and she just laughed out loud about Omarosa. And you know, the white news anchor, she seemed like that was just really entertaining for her. And so I heard someone say, well, if Black women are supposed to be cared for, protected, then you can't have a double standard for Omarosa, which I don't agree with. for the most part, because it's like I agree. Like, I think that we should not get in front, as Black people, as a Black collective, we have to be protective of one another. So we shouldn't, I don't think we should get around other ethnicities and revile one another or be contrary to one another. I don't think we should do that. And it was interesting because the young man who used to be on The Apprentice with Omarosa, his name is Kwame, I want to say, I can't remember his last name. His name is Kwame. He was on The Apprentice with Omarosa. He was a guest panelist on one of the news stations, and they asked him what he felt about Omarosa, and he kind of dismissed it. Well, you know, Omarosa is Omarosa, but what I really want to focus on now is the fact that there are no Black people in this administration. Like, where are all of the Black people to represent our interests? And he talked about the bigger issue. And I like how he kind of deflected from, you know, I mean, Omarosa's doing Omarosa. I'm not really getting on that. Let's talk about the bigger issue. And I think that's how I would have played that whole thing on if I was asked to speak about my brother or my sister that I may not agree with on a public forum. I am going to represent love for my ethnicity regardless of where they are. It's just kind of like your family, your mother, somebody, like, you know what's up with your mom, that she trips sometimes, but you're not going to let somebody else call her out, and you're not going to speak against her. Now, Omarosa is definitely, to me, I don't think that she should be considered to be a part of the true Black collective at all. So I'm not saying that there should be some kind of mercy, even though it's some people that say, well, you know, what good does it do to attack another Black person? They're just a victim like you, you know. But the only problem I have with that situation, and I could be wrong, but if I'm sitting at the bottom of the slave ship and another slave is attacking me, I first have to deal with that person before I can get to the top of the slave ship and stop the human traffickers that are up on top of the ship. So I have to get the immediate threat. And I think that when we have Black people that look Black on the outside, but they represent white interests, those people are they're the closest to us, and they're that buffer that we have to get past to get to the larger issues. But at the same time, I'm not going to deal with that on a public forum that is not solely dedicated to my people. So that was interesting. Another thing that stood out to me in this scenario with Omarosa that I felt like was so unfortunate she allowed herself to be used like this, but the media really went in on taking that stereotype of the mean, nasty Black woman. You know, like, she played into it from The Apprentice all the way to the White House. And I just think, you know, they just really use that against her. And I really don't like that, because I, as a professional, when I go into these corporations and things like that, I feel like, and I really don't care, but you know, Black women are just stereotyped because of imagery like that of Omarosa, where, you know, it's all of this attitude and all of this drama, high dramatics, and this, you know, being very rude and catty. And I hate that she played into that stereotype and gave them really some easy material to just throw back at us. So I didn't like that either. But it's really sad that Omarosa allowed herself to, or not allow herself, but really took an active role against her own people with someone like Number 45. And this person has engaged in racist, white supremacist actions and politics. And the thing is, the venom is called for in a situation like this, because Black people are getting seriously hurt. Black people are dying. Black people are losing their loved ones. Black people are being incarcerated. And really, to be honest, the idea that she was thrown out of the White House after being such a loyal servant, number one, we know that happens. in a system of racism, white supremacy. But number two, why is this happening right now? I mean, like, are they really just planning to go in a new direction to where they don't want any witnesses? I don't know what's going on in that administration. So, I mean, that's kind of like, okay. Anyway, but, you know, that administration has hurt so many people. Number 45 took out that ad against the innocent teenage Black boys who were wrongfully convicted and spent so much time in jail. He took out an ad in the paper saying that they should be executed, and he wouldn't retract his statements after it was found that they were innocent. You know about the whole Charlottesville thing, and she defended number 45 with that. She rode with him during that whole campaign when he was inciting violence against our people and creating a very toxic and dangerous environment for us right now. So, you know, what can you say? I mean, you know, in the Bible it says, when the wicked perish, there are shouts of joy. So I think the memes and everything were just really called for. I'm sorry. And I think that, you know, we have to be, you know, justice is a good thing. Justice doesn't always mean that, or justice most times doesn't mean that you're hugging somebody and you're bigging them up even though they've done wrong. Justice means that there are consequences for your actions. So we want justice, and that would mean that someone who has done evil and has done wrong will be punished. That's what justice is. So, you know, I can't really feel bad for Omarosa, you know, and I think that really taking her to task is what needs to be done, as we should do with anybody in our community that jeopardizes our existence. So let me know what you guys think. And again, you know, sign up at Nubian Essence